Welcome everybody to another edition of the Business Spotlight. Here we are today with our friend Jim Chetwode. Jim, thank you so much for joining us on Business Spotlight. We really appreciate it. I just take a few seconds to introduce Jim and what he and his business partner are doing, because we're excited today to learn about the dark art and the magnificently powerful world of marketing. All right, so that's what Jim's going to share more about. Now, Jim founded his business in 2018 along with Rupert Brown, his co-founder, the business being called We Are Chain. Now, if you haven't visited We Are Chain's website, you should do. We Are Chain are making some super bold statements which are really very powerful. For example, helping you make more money online. It's about as succinct and clear as it could be. So from my perspective, this is a business with a deep and varied array of marketing services. And I'm looking forward to hearing Jim tell us more about it. So Jim, welcome, as I said a few minutes ago, to Business Spotlight. Tell us more about We Are Chain. We're all ears.
So we founded in August 2018, so we're coming up to our 6th anniversary. Originally, Rupert and I, we ran a cricket team together. And if you've ever done that, you know how hard it is to get 11 people on a pitch every sort of week or twice a week. And we thought if we can do that, then why don't we work together?
Were they children, Jim, or were they adults?
No, grown-ups.
Oh, even worse, even more complicated. Yeah.
Middle-aged men, you get one for one game and they've dislocated their shoulder, and so you need to find another.
I get it. Wow. No, I've never been involved in a cricket team in that way, but other sports, yes. Yeah, absolutely with you, totally. So you figured out whether you could work together in a social context, and then took it into the professional arena, yeah?
Yeah, 10 years of doing that together, and then sort of knowing each other socially. And also the name comes from the fact of our love of cycling. And the chain being the sort of connection, the different parts of marketing, put it all together.
Yeah. Apparently there's a good song written by an old rock band about, a similar name, right? Interesting. So which is the better cricketer then?
Oh God, he's terrifying to face bowling. He doesn't move very fast, but his left arm fires it in at the back of your legs, and I hate it.
No, not that it's relevant. I just couldn't help myself. Sorry. That's great. So you decide to move into business together. Tell us a little bit about your background your professional background before going into business.
So myself, I was sort of sales and marketing manager in travel for about 10 years, especially when I worked in London, adventure travel and stuff. Then moved into volunteering sector, and then thought, I really enjoyed digital marketing. So I'm going to just made it a mission to try and find out everything I could about digital marketing. So I moved into the agency side and worked for a big agency down in Poole, and a couple of other agencies, and then sort of got to a stage where I thought, I'd like to do this on my own, or with Rupert, who's been doing e-commerce for 20 years, with a background in sort of hotels and stuff as well. And it seemed to be quite a good fit. Let's help people sell stuff online.
So there's quite, you've developed a deep, I did say earlier on, a deep and varied array of marketing services. It's good to see it, with all due respect to my learned marketing colleague on the call today. It's good to see depth of content, and the blogs. I think there were, from memory, 7 or 8 different tabs of blogs going back to the origins of the business. And a lot of them are referring to Spotify and e-commerce. Obviously, this is a space that you guys have set about owning. Yeah. So that's interesting. Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah. So we decided to hang our hat on Shopify, because when we started the business, we got given a website by a dog bed manufacturer. They said build us a website. And we did. And then once we built it, they said, we don't actually want to sell direct to the customer. Why don't you do that? And you can use it as an experiment. So we started up an online pet store on Shopify, which we have just sold, which is quite exciting. But that allowed us over the last 5-6 years to actually just try stuff. try different apps and plugins on Shopify, try different marketing platforms for email and stuff like that. And so as an agency, we're not just, here's a website, off you go. We've started up the bank account, we've done the finances, we've done fulfillment. We had a DPD driver arriving at my door every day to pick up, dog beds and stuff. So we know the whole process of running an e-commerce store. And it allowed us to test and stuff like that. And Shopify, we tried WordPress. We went back to Shopify because WordPress just didn't cut it. It wasn't easy enough to use. So we then thought, like last year, we thought, why don't we really nail down on Shopify? And how do we do that? So we came up with a business plan just for that area of the business. And it was just to create content, useful content. So each video on the blog you've seen is about 30 seconds to a minute. How to add a new product, I did one yesterday, how to add frequently asked questions page on your Shopify store. And it's just trying to build the content that people are searching for that. And the website is now generating really nice leads from Shopify store owners.
Would you mind, Jim, telling us a little bit more about how you produce the video? To what degree are you let's say utilizing expensive equipment, editing facilities and so forth? I mean, just expand on that. It's a subject that people struggle with, and often spotlight conversations go there. So please tell us, that'd be great.
Yes, very simple, using this camera, which is just attached to the top of my computer, and then Loom. You're aware of Loom, where you can have your little, the video of you in the bottom left-hand corner, and then it does the screen, it records whatever's going on the screen. So you've got a little bit of personalization, as in you're in the video, you're only a tiny bit at the bottom, and that's it. You just press record. And the one I did yesterday, it took 3 or 4 takes. Because the phone rang, stuff like that. But you just practice what you're going to do, get it out there. And now something like Loom with AI, it transcribes it instantly. So when you post it as a blog on your website, you've already got the text, which you should just definitely check in case it's done something funny. But it's a really quick way of doing it. And you can get it to rewrite intros and descriptions and stuff for SEO purposes.
So for the purpose of the listener, the viewer, I think the key takeaway there is, forgive me for setting it up in the way by creating this Hollywood movie concept in our mind. We clearly don't need to do that, do we? In small and medium-sized business video marketing, it needs to be simplistic, it needs to be authentic, it needs to be clear, and really as simplistic as possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Hollywood goes, we've all got. I mean, look how many cameras that's got on.
Yeah.
But, just buy a tripod. Little gorilla pod, maybe a microphone. You don't even really need a microphone these days. But everyone understands that high quality video costs money. And if you're just doing stuff that's really useful and quick, because what we do, if a customer rings me up and says, how do I do this? If I have to look it up, I will then just produce a video. So that's the way we create our content. We get the question and then make a video, and that customer can see it, but it's also useful for anyone else out there who has the same problem.
I noticed on the website that you refer to being an avid learner, and you're constantly reading and staying ahead of marketing trend and so forth, which is again brilliant to hear. And there is clearly, you'll no doubt know the book, They Ask, You Answer, and of course it is you just nailed it right there, didn't you? They ask the question and you answer the darn question for them. And if you can do it through video, wonderful. I don't see any reason why we can't do that. Are you sending video to clients personally, for example, in email and so forth, or are you leveraging the tool that way as well?
Well, I mean, the easiest way to do it is WhatsApp. Email, you've got a whole process to go through with WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's a good point.
If you've got WhatsApp on your desktop, you can screen share.
Yeah.
You can actually record what's happening on your screen, like how do I add analytics to my website? Just here you go, bang it on a WhatsApp, and you haven't had to go to your phone, you haven't had to open an email. It's like that.
Yeah, much more personal, much more contemporary. Yeah, really interesting stuff. So why are you in business then, Jim? What's the why?
The why, I mean, the why Rupert and I is to be able to have a good work-life balance. I've got, my kids are coming to the end of their education, which is quite exciting. My daughter's just got a driving license, so no more school run. But just things that I live in a remote area of North Dorset, and doing the school run and stuff like that. My wife works as well. It doesn't work so well for a 9 to 5. So being in business for ourselves is important. As I said earlier, I wanted to become a knowledge of digital marketing, become a go-to source and understand it all. So I know a little bit about a lot. And I just love sharing that with people and helping them, develop their businesses, because I mean, essentially what we are is problem solvers. As you said, we're always learning. People come to us with a problem and we find the solution. And then once we've got that solution, that's in our armory. We know how to deliver it the next time. And I really like helping people.
Yeah. So it's clear that it's a combination of how do I be in control of my life, but also play to the passion, right? So important.
Yeah.
Why are people in business if they don't love what they're doing? I mean, it's just the recipe for disaster. Yeah, fascinating. And on a value level, then, Jim. So you guys have clearly aligned on a value level. We often find that people that are watching and enjoying these interviews won't necessarily understand what that means, in terms of, what are my values, So tell me, how did you and Rupert go about establishing your value system and reflecting it into what you're doing?
Well, we did a number of years ago. We did actually do some coach work. So we got a coach in, which was funded by the Growth Hub, actually, which was great.
Oh,
but that enabled us to understand that stuff.
Yeah. So and they took you through that process, did they?
Yeah, of what we wanted to get out of the business, and that particularly having young families at the time, really important to spend time with our families, and you get that ability when you work for yourself, which is really nice.
So what forgive me for probing here, what would be the number one value of the business from a client looking in, if you see what I'm saying? What would they see as being the number one value that We Are Chain presents?
God, I don't know. I mean, kind of one of them sort of supporting the local community, and supporting friends and family with their businesses. There's a number of websites we've done for free that help people get off the ground. We've got a directory website for Shaftesbury Town, which we completely free. But
actually, yeah,
which is a really nice thing to do. And we're starting to get people say, "Hey, look, can we add our business and whatever?" And it doesn't cost them anything, but it's supporting the community. And I think that's what people really like.
So there's a whole scenario there, a complex scenario that could be broken down in terms of what the true values are. That's fascinating. So abundance, though, is what comes out of there for me. So that valuing abundance, and again, it's cool to pull it apart, Jim, with you, because again, people that have had the entrepreneurial seizure. Let's talk about Michael Gerber again, and his E-Myth Revisited, right? So he's had his, he or she have had their entrepreneurial seizure, and they've set out on the path of owning and building a small business. Do they really understand that they need to be reflecting their values? They need to understand that abundance, helping people when you can least afford it, how important that is in terms of the ethos and the creation of a wholesome business. Really interesting, good stuff. So forgive me, please carry on. Yeah.
Well, there's a book, isn't there, that you give, you get. I can't remember what book it is, but if you're giving, you'll get. I can't remember which one.
You're touching on the unique value proposition, or the tagline of BNI there, aren't you? Givers gain.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly the same principle. Yeah, absolutely. People that want to gain, are not necessarily going to be the winners. The people that are going to give abundantly and create. I don't want to be too sort of woo here, but here at Powerplay, we're often talking with clients about you're stood on the shore of the universal lake, metaphorically. When you pick a rock up, every time you think, every time you speak, every time you act, you make a decision, and metaphorically, what you're writing on that rock's going in the lake. The ripples go out, the ripples come back. So what goes out and what comes back at you is a reflection of what you're thinking, you're saying, you're doing. So if abundance is one of those rocks, Jim, it's going to come back at you at some point.
Yeah.
And it will be good. You know, it'll reflect the abundance. It's as simple as that. Of course, then let's continue the scenario. If you're writing stuff on that metaphorical rock, which is negative and which is fearful and which is problematic, yeah, watch out, because that'll come back as well, you know?
Yeah.
So now we've talked about values a little. What's the vision now? Where are you guys going? I mean, help the listener understand what Rupert and Jim have done to create an aligned vision.
Yeah, so we're at a stage where you know, we're not quite at capacity, but we want to take the business to the next level. And it's, you know, it's been the two of us, and you work all the hours God sends, and always learning stuff and whatever. And we've realized there's gaps in the business. You know, the numbers is not a strength of ours. So I've got a meeting straight after this actually with a new accountancy company, and what we want to do is start doing the outsourcing, and I think every business goes through the same thing, and it's how you do that, making sure you're financially secure, and can you trust the partners that you're going to put in place. And we've started to build the partnerships with, you know, web developers and copywriters and stuff like that. And it's just how you do that successfully and make sure you don't have any hiccups.
And exit. I mean, obviously, you and Rupert are young men still.
He's much older than me.
I'm not going there. I've seen his photograph on the website, but age is just a number, right? What's the exit plan? I mean, please don't be specific, but don't go anywhere near absolute detail. But do you have that clear? Have you got? Is that written into the plan, into the vision?
Kind of clear. It's more like trying to build something that supports us and allows us to enjoy, you know, the things that we enjoy. Like I love cycling, I love traveling. You know, do more of that.
Yeah.
But while still delivering sort of an excellent service. We want to do that. The actual exit, you know, yeah, building something that's valuable. And that's part of our, you know, building up lead generation at the moment, is trying to get a steady level of inbound leads. That then I think that's where the value comes.
That's interesting. So we talk about, and yours truly in his own ebook talks about reaching the balance of having freedom of choice in life as a business owner, right? So, you know, let's talk a little bit about the wealth equation. I mean, you know, from my perspective, the wealth equation is time multiplied by money. So if we have the freedom of choice of time and money, we're in a great place, right? Yeah, either one without the other, and yeah, you know, money but no time, time but no money. So I think to again for it's wonderful through this process to be able to help people that are starting out or they're 25 years down the line and they haven't thought about these things, Jim. You know, they just haven't, right? So, you know, how do I engineer freedom of choice into my life? I'm 50, let's say, and I want to hang my boots up at 60. I've got 10 years. So how do I engineer freedom of choice and have wealth of time and money? That requires you and Rupert to sit down and make a plan, or not? So,
yes, absolutely. I'm lucky enough that we've got several clients who fit the bill to be able to help us. Like I work with a financial services company, and you know, do a lot of their content creation, or they send me stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm always reading of, you know, you should have this in place, and it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So now we're now a client of theirs as well as them big client of ours.
So you've got to be congruent. I mean, you can't not do what they're doing in a way. Yeah, that's
yeah, exactly.
So tell us about your business planning process then. How do you do that? Do you leverage software, or are you utilizing good old-fashioned Excel spreadsheets, or is it on a wall? What format do your plans? I'm not talking about the plan of project management. I'm talking about the plan of the business.
Yeah. So the white blur you can see on my left shoulder is a whiteboard.
Yeah. Okay.
I love a whiteboard.
Yeah.
That's the sort of day-to-day, you know, this is what we need to do stuff. But the cash flow spreadsheet is my sort of go-to thing. Being able to forecast where the holes are coming up. That's been a real game changer in the last 6 months.
I see. Interesting. And are you leveraging a piece of software, or is that an Excel spreadsheet, or?
It's an Excel spreadsheet given to me by a friend who exited his business very well, and he developed it over years, and it's just magic compared with the blindness that I had before. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, look, you make a great point, right? I mean, I mean, there's two great points there. Number one, leveraging people's knowledge. Accessing people's knowledge. The two most expensive words in business, I'm told, are "I know." I know I don't need that guidance. I know I don't need to read that book. I know I don't need a cash flow. You'd be amazed how many. I mean, I'm talking about CEOs. I'm talking about managing directors, business owners, multi-million-pound operations that still try to convince me they don't need a cash flow forecast. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, guys. Really? So leveraging externally, fantastic. But actually just leveraging a simple spreadsheet to say, this is what we've got at the beginning of the week. What do we think's coming in? What do we think's going out? And that's what we think the bank balance will look like at the end of the week. Times that by 13 weeks and you've got a 3 months cash flow. Perfect, right? It's not rocket science. Wonderful. So, by the way, if you're watching this video and you haven't got one of those, get one, right? And if you need one, a template, just send me a message and I'll give it to you. That's not a problem. Okay, so how far ahead are you business planning then? I mean, for example, can you write, I mean, forgive me, again, don't be specific, but you and Rupert, 5 years from now, are you clear on what the revenue number looks like, what the marketing investment looks like, what the team look like? And so have you gone down to that level yet?
No, not to be honest, not to the 5 year level. I know we have to, we should, but we probably 6 months, 12 months, we're aware of what we need, what we want.
So shorter term, sprint type planning.
I mean, it's more like, for me, it's, COVID and everything was just dreadful for us. And so, we're back on our feet because we've had to change the business model so many times, but it's understanding what's coming in the months, what's going out, and just knowing every month we need X in. That's the clearest number. If we don't do that, we're not there. So then it's trying to grow on top of that. Every bit of business on top of that is, cheese on the pie.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think what you're doing there is flushing denial out, aren't you? Kind of, well, if we don't invoice that and collect that, then we've got a problem. Again, what brilliant piece of advice to people that you've just given there. Don't be in denial. Get your head out the sand, right?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. It's check that. I mean, that's the first thing I do every day is check that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And it's got, we've got tools like HubSpot with the deal configuration there, which we kind of use, but actually the spreadsheet has another tab on it with sales opportunities, and it's just a list, vague figure, a very small figure, never put a big one in. But just run through that, certainly on a Monday, right, what's potential, when's it going to come in, get rid of it if it's not going to happen.
So what was that word that began with S that you mentioned a minute ago there? Makes everybody's toes curl. Sales. I mean,
sales, yeah.
I mean, again, how many small business owners do you know that would say to themselves or to anybody that asks the question, "Oh no, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a business owner, right? I do engineering or I do marketing. I'm not a salesperson."
For me, it's being able. It's a weird expression that's just popped into my head, but being able to feel your pipeline. But you can feel if it's good, if you've got a lot of people you've quoted for or are coming in, it's really exciting, and if it's empty and the pressure's on, and that's the problem. You fill the pipeline, you start having success, and you've taken your eye off the ball of filling the pipeline again. And it's keeping a consistent, amount of content coming, and that's the hardest bit.
Absolutely. So you're clearly not a businessman that has a problem with identifying with being commercial, being sales orientated. If you don't sell, you don't have a business. It's as simple as that. I guess the point I'm laboring here is for people watching mainly is having the identity and the confidence to understand and accept that if we don't sell, we're not in business, and that's just That's just completely clear. What's the biggest challenge? What's the biggest challenge in your business? How you know, and how are you guys addressing it?
I think it's that growth thing of just, you know, there's so much to do. There's the important stuff and there's the stuff that should be done. I can't remember the phrase for that, but it's I'm sorry, my dog's just walked in.
That
It's
happens these days, right? Everybody's got dogs.
it's you know, do the stuff that makes you money. Don't start fiddling around with little stuff. And as we're getting bigger clients, bigger e-commerce projects, there's a lot of manual copy pasting, for want of another word, if it's built on a platform that you can't just import export products. And it's just being able to say, right, stop doing that as business owners, give it to someone who, you know, much better at doing it and for less cost. And so, you know, it's realizing, I think someone told me once, you've only got 3 things to sell, which is a product, your time, and someone else's time. And up till now, we've only been selling our own time, and it's just making that move to selling someone else's time has given us another, you know, thing to sell.
Yeah. So expansion of tools, expansion of services, expansion of, but staying within the same space.
Yeah, just with people you can trust. You know, that's the biggest thing, that are going to deliver the same level of service you'd expect from yourself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So obviously, again, just to tie things together here for everybody, if we've got a business that's identifying its biggest challenge as, how do I take a step from A to C? The answer is it has to go through B, which is the law of precession. So in B will sit marketing, sales. Can we convert opportunities? Do we have the right partners, etc., etc.? All of the above. Yeah, interesting, which requires, again, a lot of planning, a lot of thinking, a lot of time. Okay, so with that as the baseline then, Jim, so that in terms of the challenge, what's the opportunity? So, you know, if you said, like, for the benefit of the viewer, what's the number one opportunity that you have right now? What
in terms of sales, sort of thing?
Oh no, just generally around you as a business. What's the biggest opportunity that you see?
With the opportunity, I'm 50 next year, and for me, it's a milestone that I want. You know, I want to be able to do something around about the summer where I can, you know, work remotely and know that my back is covered, and, you know, people are doing the work that I should be doing for that period off.
Yeah. So it's internal and external team then is your biggest opportunity, is what you're saying there, right?
Yes. Yeah.
People to delegate to.
Yeah, exactly. And then just be able to do what we're talking about now, is focus on the business. So I know the more time you do that, the faster it grows, the better things are, rather than just stuck in the weeds all the time.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So what's your ratio at the moment then? If you verse, like, you know, again, using Gerber's terminology, in versus on, just out of interest, where are you right now?
Probably 15% on.
Yeah.
So I do really try, like, you know, the meeting we have on a Monday morning is about the business. You know, and what we also do is we try and get out once a month, even if it's for a few hours, but just get away, go somewhere completely neutral, and it may be a golf course. But yeah, just somewhere where you've got no distractions, phones are off, don't take a laptop, just talk about where we are, where we want to be. The golf course is a really good one for that. And we have a thing where we just clear the air. You know, if you've got a problem with each other, it's actually, we sort of start the sentence. Now, we've always said we like to clear the air. If something's been niggling you, is just get it out of the way, go, and then, you know, then you're done.
Have you seen, I can't remember if it's in the movie Air, but it's certainly expanded upon really well in the book Shoe Dog, which is about, both are clearly about night.
I've seen the film.
You've seen the film, you read the book? Read the book, it's much deeper. You get a real feel for Phil Knight and for the journey from, you know, his journey from A to C, which took him, I think, you know, well, he's still on the journey, 60 plus years. It's an absolutely incredible story. One of the key things that his management, or he and his management team, his ownership team, the shareholders, the principal leadership team, they had a month, I think it's monthly, a monthly meeting where they would sit in the room, the door gets locked and shut. I won't use the phrase, the title they give the meeting, because it's colourful, but it basically means gloves are off, and if we don't have blood on the walls, we're not running this company properly. So but then immediately, once the air's cleared and what's been said has been said, and there's a couple of bloody noses, they all head out for beers and pizzas and crack on with loving business and life together and running their company. And of course, so again, please allow me to embellish what you and Rupert are doing there. I think it's a wonderful example to people watching. Get out of the business, go find a quiet space, and get out of denial. Deal with what needs to be dealt with, right? Really good stuff. So yeah, I can see the opportunity. I love the opportunity you describe, because it circles back to that freedom of choice piece, doesn't it? Having the ability to have wealth of money and wealth of time. You can only do that if you build a business. It's a cliche, forgive me, but a business that works without you.
Yes, exactly. And that's the goal, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to be, Jem. If it doesn't work without you, you don't own a business, you own a job, or maybe even several of them. So yeah, interesting stuff. Really, really interesting. Actually, as an aside, yesterday I met with people. One of my non-executive directorships were considering buying I want to say, somebody swimming in the same channel, but in a different lane. That makes sense, right? And we had a meeting with these people yesterday. And it was completely obvious to me within like a millisecond that we were not considering buying a business. We were going to buy them. Because their business was doing, I don't know, they've doubled the business every year for the last 3 years. Phenomenal, actually. And we're not talking about small numbers. They've done very, very well. But they're killing themselves because they're like your ratio, probably even higher, 85, 90 in versus on. In that instance, that's a business that's not really, well, it has value, but its value is much reduced because I want to buy a functioning limited company. I don't want to buy two people.
Yeah, who may burn out. Yeah.
Yeah. So where are we going to go there with that negotiation? That's going to be interesting.
But it's processes, isn't it? It's we've got certain things we do that are a process, and it's just nailing that down. And it is the same for like migrating from WordPress to Shopify.
Yeah.
Or Magento to Shopify. It's like moving home. You get movers in, move all the content of the products, and then just tidy up, paint the walls and whatever. And that is getting that process correct will save us loads of time.
Getting the process correct and then doing one thing with it. And that is, of course, with due respect, is writing it down, building the operations manual, getting the flow charts in there, getting the key KPIs in there, being able to constantly update the darn thing so that you're actually able to demonstrate to the people that are going to buy this business off you and Rupert in the next 5 years, for $200 million. But just, then you're able to demonstrate that this thing works without me, and this is how. Very few people. I mean, we're talking about 3%. Again, the people watching and listening, I think that they're probably more than aware of this analogy now that I constantly talk about, and that is that we're talking about 3% of the businesses in the business community that own 98% of the wealth. So if you reverse the numbers, that means 97% share 2% of the wealth.
Wow. Yeah.
And the difference between the 3% and the 97% is that the 3% have developed what we call a level 3 business. A level 3 business is able to function without the people that own it. So they've gone through the pain barrier of coming from level 1, which is some work, no work, some money, no money, to level 2, which is the big roundabout business that works, makes money, but has to be pushed and is constantly a drain on the people that own it and run it. And God forbid anything happens to one or both of them, because the whole thing then just implodes. They've gone through level 1 to 2 and they've worked out how to get to 3. And that's the difference between good business and great business. Very few people do. And I think if you said to me, what's our vision? What's our mission? What are we here to do through Business Spotlight and through the work that we do? It is to take smart people from level 2 to level 3. Because not enough people are doing it. There's way too many people struggling with level 1 and level 2 businesses. And sadly, every day, every week, every month that goes by is one that they've lost. It's gone. So you know, that's where we're at. Interesting, fascinating conversation. So we've talked about vision, we've talked about values, we've talked about a little bit about business planning, financial management, we've talked about challenge, opportunity. Just we'll finish on this next question, Jim. People. So leadership and management of. So we know, don't we, that people and marketing are the two most critical aspects of a successful company. You know, if you don't, a level 3 business has to be world class at people and world class at marketing. It ain't going to get to level 3 without those two. So, what's your how do you guys approach leadership and management and the people that work for you, internally, externally, it doesn't matter. What are your theories there? How do you help people watching and listening understand how you guys handle people?
I think it's just quality of delivery, you know, and taking responsibility for stuff.
Okay,
You know,
that's perfect.
give you a task, just complete it. You know, and we're not, you know, whatever pencil pushers or. I mean, you know, we're both generally nice guys, and so there's no,
That's
you know,
completely clear. Yeah.
beating people with a stick or anything. But it's just you know, ensuring our clients have a good experience and ensuring that we're enjoying what we do, and the people who do stuff for us also, you know, love working with us.
Yeah, what's popped into my mind as you're speaking there is that they, if I'm reading this correctly, they will, you two are good guys, almost certainly they will reflect your values. And that's a key point, right? So if the people you're working with don't reflect your values, if they're not aligned, then your customer's experience will not reflect what you will want it to be. So again, how many times do you see business people that for some reason don't manage to employ people or work with people that reflect their values? It's so obvious when you think of it like that, but very few people get it right.
Well, I used to work for someone who always said, employ nice people first, and then you can get them to do anything. You know, you can train them up or whatever. Make sure they're nice in the first instance.
See, so again, being the sort of slightly hard-nosed, you know, non-exec business coach, I would say take the word nice out. It's nice is too fluffy. You know, but I would say attitudinally, you know, hire people that are attitudinally in line, that get you, you get them, because you can teach skill, but to coach and teach attitude development, blah, you know. That's what I was hearing when you were talking, when you were sharing your experience. Jim, that's been really useful. Thank you so much for joining in. I'm sure people listening have learned a lot there about how you and Rupert are approaching business ownership. But I'm not going to finish just yet, because the one thing that I want you to tell us a little more about before we do wrap up is actually what you're doing as a business day to day is utterly essential work. If you don't have 1,000 clients all purchasing this stuff from you, well, frankly, A, they're stupid, and B, you're not doing the job right in marketing to them to convince them to do it. So because you've got brilliant stuff going on there. So just tell us a little bit about the kind of services you're delivering and what you guys do at a world-class level, please, because I think everybody needs to know.
So we've got a kind of a mix. 50% of the business, I'd say, is e-commerce, based around Shopify, but we work with WooCommerce. And a lot of that is moving people to Shopify and then training them how to use it, we're just trying to make life easier, and we know it works because our customers say it does.
And you prove the model, right?
Yeah. And then the other half is sort of retained marketing contracts for a variety of businesses, financial services, legal companies, technology companies, where we look after the marketing side. We're an outsourced marketing department. Everything from email marketing to social media to looking after their websites. We just take the digital marketing headaches away. And we use stuff like HubSpot and Salesforce marketing. We've got a number of US clients, one very large agency that does hotel marketing, email marketing for hotels, like Wyndham Group and IHG. and we look after their workflow automation on their emails with HubSpot. So it's quite varied, but those are the sort of three key elements of the business.
And your target client would be who?
Our target client is, I think on the e-commerce side, is someone who's been in the business for 2 or 3 years and wants to take the next step.
Yeah.
Improve automation, save time, and giving them time to work on their business, like we've talked about. And the other side is, the retained marketing stuff is anyone business of sort of 3 to 10 people in the business who can't afford a marketing manager, but a lot of people don't do any marketing.
1,000,000%.
And they want someone to just take that headache for them.
What is marketing? Yeah.
Website. It's amazing what a quick email campaign can do if you've got any kind of database. And that's a lot of what we do. Go in, find the data, work out how to communicate with it, and then put the system in place so it's always happening.
Interesting. Good. Okay, well, power to the elbow, and I wish you all the best in this journey. Same to Rupert. We love marketers because, well, frankly, again, it's cliched. There's an old saying out there that marketing is anything, everything that touches an existing or a prospective customer. So it's all marketing in reality, what people are doing in business. And we need experts that are nice guys to go and help people do it. So, Jim, good to meet you today. Thank you so much for giving us your time. At some point in the future, it'd be lovely to get you back and maybe go into some other corners and talk about different things, if you're open to that. So on behalf of everybody at Power Play and Spotlight, we would say good luck and thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Alice.